G'day and welcome to Aussievision. Today we are talking about one of the big guns of Eurovision. It's Russia. It's Manizha with a Russian Woman. Really interesting entry from Russia this year, and probably a lot of question marks and commentary about how this is going to go because it's not their usual type of package. So today we are going to, as part of the Aussievision team here in front of us, score these out of 10 on jury and televote appeal. And without further ado, we're going to get straight into it, and we're going to go jury score. Right, everyone, let's do our scores out of 10 for jury appeal. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my God, Kyriakos. 3. What have you done? Why is it going to do so badly?
I really struggle to find any hooks that the jury can really take on with this entry because it's such an unusual entry. So either do really well or flop. I don't know what they can really hook onto, the chanting or the Russian bit of the Russian language. But yeah, I just struggle to find what the jury could find appealing to the entry.
Oh, fair enough, because I guess if they're going to keep putting other songs in front of it, and even if there's nothing wrong, it's just going to fall down the rankings. So okay, fair enough. Liv, and what was your score again?
Mine was 7.5.
You were the high one.
Yeah. I think just generally whenever I pick a score for Russia, it's kind of like it's probably more like a 6.5, but by the time you add the Russia factor onto things, it ends up being pumped up to a 7.5 because their scores are always generally pretty, forgiving from juries and televote. I think when they send things that are a bit more on the traditional side, sometimes they really do click with the jury members, and I'm thinking that there'll be a good bunch in there that will be like, yeah, Eastern, and just enough to give them a pretty solid little jury score.
Fair enough.
Whether they deserve it, I don't know.
Okay, interesting. Mike, what about you? You had it at 6.5, didn't you?
I did have it at 6.5, and now having listened to Liv and Kyriakos, I'm a little bit in doubt. I'm sort of giving it a little bit above average as far as the score goes because it's just such an unusual, different song. I agree with Liv. Juries generally do reward Russia. This is a very different Russian package this year, so I'm not exactly sure where it's going to fall. Let's face it, vocally she's good and solid, but it's not at that top level. She's not really going for those big notes, and the song itself in its composition is original, but a little probably hard to take on first listen.
Yeah, I had a 6.5, and there's just a few question marks, and I think it's what you guys have said. Like, you've got a couple of different types of styles in here. There's probably come a big moments where she gets to go a little bit with her voice, but she's not, Anna Sokliching it, and she's going straight after Anna actually as well. I think the one bit of appeal could work. We do have more, I think, Western kind of jury sitting in this, and her story is getting out there a bit. And I do think the jury members will be a bit aware of it. And there might even be that kind of like, I kind of like that she's sticking it a little bit to Russia in a way, and there's something there. And she's an interesting artist, and I think people will gravitate to her with that. But even if there'll be a couple of the jury who love her, I think there'll be so many who put a low, and that's why I think it'll end up being in the middle somewhere, because the jury rankings doesn't reward a couple of them loving it. It's about if you're good across the board, you do well. So I've definitely got a question mark on the jury there. Ooh, pretty low overall. Especially the 3 Kyriakos. That is horrendous. All right, well, let's have a look at the televote appeal and see if it's any better than that score. All right, have we got our televote scores, or we can almost see mine? All right, ready and go. Okay, 8, 7, 7.5. All right, Kyriakos, you've given it an 8 after that terrible 3. Explain yourself.
Okay, the highest mark. I really do think they have more televote appeal. It's possibly people voting for it because a Russian entry talking about female empowerment might impress people. Also, the fact that the video on the Eurovision YouTube channel is the most watched out of all this year's entries, with over 5 million views now. 8 million views now.
Oh, wow.
And that's got to be, there's definitely people watching it. There's definitely people enjoying it. So there's got to be something there with televoters enjoying the entry.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So we had a 7.5 as well from Liv. Or
Oh,
Mike?
on my screen, I'm over here.
Mike, did you give it the 7.5 or was it Liv?
I gave it.
I think both of us did.
I gave it a 7.
Oh, I was a half.
All right, Liv, you're the 7.5. What do you see this in the televote appeal?
Pretty solid, to be honest. If the message is out there, I think it will do very well. If it's just not quite great, if they don't get the staging right and it just doesn't quite land, then it can very easily just be kind of like an okay Russia score instead of like a huge Russia score. I think it has every chance for this to do. Now, what was that song? Like Hungary in 2014, running.
Oh yeah.
I could see this doing a running.
Okay.
Potentially.
Yeah, true. The message around it. That's I can see that actually. Mike, you had this at 7, a bit low.
7. I've got issues. I've got concerns. We saw it was hastily thrown together for the Russian national final, so I'll forgive a little bit of the lack of real narrative as far as the staging goes. We know she's politically sensitive as far as a contestant for Russia goes. We'll see how much the broadcaster supports her and do they give her the funds for the kind of staging she wants, things like this. I could almost see her being a little bit abandoned. And if she ends up sort of staging it the way she did the national final, I think it could fall a little flat and come across as a little messy. And I'll kind of agree with Liv. If they can talk about what she's about and what the song's about to the general viewer, it will resonate. If it doesn't, and she just comes across as mad Tajik Russian woman yelling at me over screens, then perhaps it won't.
True. And I think there is something about where her story is going to work a lot for, we're from the Western side of things. And so we love this story. We think it's great. And normally a lot of the Westerns don't go for Russia somewhat. And there's always the votes from Azerbaijan and the Baltics and whatever. And will there be people on that side who don't like this song and actually back away from it a little bit? So will there be a gain over here and a drop over there? I don't know. Maybe they'll just still vote for Russia because it's Russia. So I gave it 7.5, and I think it's got definitely some televote appeal, but certainly not as much as a normal Russian entry that's well packaged and put together and always made for a good televote. But yeah, I've definitely got concerns with the same thing, the mix and genre. Everything that's good for it is against it as well. The style, they're all the positives, but they're all the drawbacks. So you kind of feel it fits in the middle there somewhere. It's a real question mark, this song. So I am going to throw to you. Mike, is this going to qualify?
I think it will, but I've got a feeling it might be close. All
right, Liv, what about you?
I think there's a 3/4 chance that it will. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And Kyriakos?
I think it's more of an 11th place.
Are you calling an NQ?
Yes, yeah.
I'm so borderline. I kind of know I'm in that like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th spot. I really think it is. I think it might just sneak it through. I think it might be the 10th place. I think that Russia factor has to have some impact. And I could see if they get through, maybe in Australia doesn't. Or if Australia gets through, then Russia doesn't. I think one of us is going to stay, one of us is going to go. All right, okie dokie. Well, our average score on that one was a 5.9 for the jury. So we're not seeing a lot of jury appeal there, but it is a 7.5 for the televote, which is certainly up higher, but probably other Russian entries would have got a higher score from us, I think. So I think it's certainly in the danger zone for sure. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and catch the next video. And thanks everyone from the Aussievision team. See you later.